Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Forge. I'm DML, and today we're going to be talking about and introducing DarkStar. Now, the idea with DarkStar is to have as light a weight as possible with as far forward a weight of balance or point of balance as possible to allow for a compact, lightweight, heavy-hitting package. It's very utilitarian, and it's not meant to be a dedicated anything. It's supposed to just be kind of like a larger, heavy utility belt knife, which is very close to what Kukri were originally intended for. So, we'll start on the outside, work our way around the outside. I'll explain some of the features, then we'll get into the blade itself. So, the first feature that you'll see is the Tinder Pouch. Now, I've been stretching this out over the course of a couple of days because it came quite stiff, but you can fit something down in there now. I can fit my finger in there. It's for your Tinder. It's for things like fat wood, or if you could do a little sort of waxed paper folded sort of package, you can put some char cloth and stuff in there, and that'll definitely be a handy little kit. You can see on the sheath here, there's some beautiful patterning. Hopefully you can see that. And it's different on either side. So if I flip it over here, you can see that the patterning is different styles. I prefer this one, and I'm left-handed, so this is the one I'm going to wear. Cool, moving on. The next feature is we do have a chakmak. Now, people very much underestimate these little things. These are awesome. The reason why is, one, it's got a 9-degree spine for your ferro rod and your tinder processing. Two, it's a hardened, low alloy steel, which means you can strike it on things like flint, chert, and quartz to create sparks, which is very, very good in conjunction with your char cloth. Cool. On top of that, you can use them for drilling into wood if you're going to bore a hole through wood if you're fixing pieces of wood together, so it's really good for that as well. And finally, on a side note, something I just found is you use that little edge in there on the inside of this radius as a bottle cap opener if you don't have any twist tops. Finally, something that Clay Kunz found was this little divot in here is really good as a wire breaker or fence wire breaker in an urban environment where you can stick the wire in there and you twist it back and forth and torque it, and eventually the wire will fail. Helps you get through there. Very handy little bits of kit, these. Right. Oh, I'll take that out again because another feature that I'm really happy Bruin did on this is if you look at the belt loops here, hold on, am I still in frame? If you look at the belt loops here, you'll see that there's a keeper and a brass stud. Now, in a lot of Kukri, you'll see this is riveted in. It's completely useless if you do that. It's just aesthetics. This one's functional. So you slide that keeper up. Here's one I've prepared earlier. There's the keeper. You slide that up over, and then you can undo these brass studs. And what that allows you to do is feed it onto your webbing, chest rig, pack, whatever. And then you feed it back through that loop, back over the brass stud, and then you lock it down with the keeper so it can't come undone. That's the way it was supposed to be done with military frogs. Traditionally, that's how they did it. Very handy. All right, cool. Now let's get into the blade and some specs. So this is DarkStar. It's a partial tang, very heavily curved, very forward heavy blade that's lightweight. This only comes in at 434 grams. Okay, so it's very light, but it punches above its weight because it has a very forward point of balance being here. Okay, we tried to make it a little bit further forward than that, and then it would have been hitting like a hatchet, but this is the best we could do because the blade is so short. It's a 10-inch blade with a 1-inch finger choil, which also brings your hand closer to the point of balance for when you're carving, so it's more comfortable, or if you choke up in one of these grips for your slicing and skinning without fatiguing your hand as much because the weight's so far forward. However, that also comes in handy when you're in a standard hammer grip for chopping. And obviously with Kukri, a lot of people try to death grip it and just swing. You're probably going to hurt yourself in the long term doing that. The idea behind these is a snap cut, so a flick of the wrist, and that's it. That's all you really need. yeah, you can put your whole body behind it, but it's still a snap cut when you're using these most of the time. Anywho, that aside, partial tang pinned in, so that way, even though it's glued in like the traditional ones, I wanted a pin there for safety, and that's quite secure. I do love the beautiful little copper accent they've put in the guard here. Hopefully you can see that. Just along there. It goes along here as well. Beautiful copper little accent there, I love it. And the engraving along the spine as well in the fuller. There you go. Is also, get in focus, absolutely stunning, love it. And then you've got Khotan Kukri Handicrafts punch there, and you've got my runes and double spiral there. Right, enough of that. Came super duper sharp, but the edge is not super duper fine. At least not at the back. Now, some specs are 10-inch blade, 1-inch choil, 5-inch handle, and then it's, I believe it's 55mm wide, 6mm thick at the bolster, tapering through to 2 or 3mm just before the tip. The distal taper is not huge because we want to keep the weight forward, but it is quite nice. It is fine enough that with a little bit of adjustment, if you're this way inclined, you could bring that bevel back and curve this slightly more towards the tip, and it would be perfect for slicing and skinning. That's what I intend to do. But for those people that prefer it as purely a survival woods blade and you want to be drilling into wood and stuff with it, that's the sort of geometry you're going to want that's already coming with it. So it was a toss-up. For me, I wanted to put that finer edge towards the tip for all of that utility tasks like slicing and skinning and stuff, but I know a lot of people are going to want this as a heavy use blade or potentially as a self-defense weapon, so I left it as is, all right, with a finer penetrating tip. Cool. All right, so that's the specs covered, that's the blade covered. Again, the intention is a heavy forward chopping survival tool. You can choke back here, which then essentially converts it into a sort of 12-inch blade, because all the weight being forward here, that's for real heavy sort of chopping and splitting tasks. But otherwise, very lightweight, very compact, really well executed bit of kit. Barun and his team have done such an amazing job. Anyway, that's enough for this one. That's DarkStar. Stick around and I will show you the final rendition of a Pyron Siripate. Thanks for your time, guys. See you on the next one.